All right, here we go. Today we got a very, very special show. Usually I start off my show with like a little rap jingle that I do, but because we're in the presence of a chef and of greatness, I figured I'm gonna skip that intro. But I'm gonna let you know at some point though. I got some bars that I wrote for you, as if I were you. So, because I'm a writer at heart. So, but this is your boy Joe Paul. This is the Verified Podcast, brought to you by Radio Pushes and ResultsandNoHype.com. We have a very special guest. We have I guess one of the top 5 chefs in the world. You've heard about Raekwon the chef. You've heard about the Swedish chef. You've heard about Chef Boyardee. But we got Chef Rush in the building. Welcome to the show, my brother. I appreciate you taking the time and making it here.
Hey man, it's a pleasure to be here. Finally to meet you. Well, meet you here and there. I know I was in New York and I missed you because I was with Gary Vee doing my thing and I didn't know you was there. So it's a pleasure to be here. Right?
We just missed each other, but it's all right. You're here now, baby. So we're gonna get it popping. But so anyway, I understand you were just doing a thing with NBC with for the military, and that's why this started a little bit later. But if people don't know, this was supposed to be about an hour ago, but when duty calls, the chef got to answer. So I understand.
Yeah, when duty calls, it was like actually like an hour, 20 minutes ago. So it was for the NBC. I did a panel with the military about racism in the military society. NBC saw it. They wanted me to jump on theirs, which is a platform of about 400,000 or so people that they're pushing out through to Comcast. I mean, it was a great platform. It just had a little technical difficulties, but otherwise, I mean, it was a great conversation.
Yeah, very impressive, man. And I've been looking over your resume, and drink some water because I know you've been probably talking for the past hour on there. I know you had to do it over, but I was looking over your your discography and your resume, and I see that is my audio coming in okay?
No, you're great.
Perfect. I got a brand new phone because my phone died yesterday, 5 minutes before the Verizon store closed. You have no idea what I went through to get this, but shout out to Verizon because they hooked me up big time. So I was reading over a lot of the stuff that you've done. It's quite impressive. Like, so you're not just a one-trick pony by being a chef. You're also a motivator, an activist. You have a 502c3. Now, I know of a 501c3. What's the difference between a 501c3 and a 502c3?
No, it must have been a typo. It's a 501. It's a 501. So it's a nonprofit. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's 502. It's a 502, but mine's 501. So it's a nonprofit.
Your arms are bigger, so we got to add an extra number. So it's a 502.
So give it 2. You got to do 2. 222. That's my whole thing. Matter of fact, that's my nonprofit, 222 Inc. Or
exactly.
222 Inc. So 2,222. It goes for unfortunate kids, no matter if they've been through trauma, abuse, this, that, but basically kind of like the same thing I do as an ambassador for Arnold Schwarzenegger for his after-school all-star kids. I go, I get the kids, I motivate them, I talk to them, I sit down with them, I even cook with them. The boys love it the most, right? They see me in a big chef outfit and they just love it. Plus I bring the military and influencers and first responders together with them as well.
Yeah, and speaking about the military, thank you for your service to our country. I really appreciate it. And thank God you made it back in one piece. I'm sure you have, plenty of stories, and I know that you're an ambassador for veterans with PTSD. So I salute you in every way. And, I look at your accomplishments and what you've done, and it's incredible. So the fact that you have time to tell your story with me, it's an absolute blessing. So let's jump right into it. Talk to me about, your childhood, how you grew up. I feel like a therapist. Tell me about your family.
Tell me about my childhood. I'm actually was born in Mississippi, Columbus, Mississippi, a small place. I tell everyone, as soon as I could walk, my dad put me to work. It was one of those little country little towns where my dad, his mentality was girls go to school, boys go to work. And literally, when I say boys go, I mean, literally, when I was probably, I don't know, maybe 6 years old, he put me to work, right? Which I hated, but now it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I'm still the hardest worker than anybody right to this very moment. I mean, that's how I can do, 22 hours a day, staying straight up, get back up, do 2,220 push-ups a day. I mean, it was the best thing. My mother taught me how to love and actually cooking was cooking was from my mother. I used to sneak and do it. My dad never knew I cooked or did not. I wanted to cook, right? So he actually,
Was he the type of father that was like, boy, you better get out of the kitchen? You know, that's not.
he was that guy. He was that guy.
Okay.
He was actually one who, where when he started working with him, he did construction for like 50 years straight. So he was a brawny guy, strong.
God bless. Hard working American.
It was hard work. It was hard work. People don't understand it. You know, it wasn't no machines back then. When he first told me to pick up, I would say, use an example like a car. He said, you know, Dre, pick up that car and move it over there. First time I'm like, that thing ain't moving. You know, then like the third time he said, boy, you better pick up that car. I picked up that car. I moved it over there. It was just because it was like you did not want to not please your father. You know,
of course.
He was doing it, so you had to do it also. Right. But I used to sneak with my mom and she used to kind of like let me go. And it was just great because I love my mother to death. I was a mama's boy. That's one of the reasons why I became a chef. It was actually a hobby. I had track scholarship, football scholarships, art scholarships. I was scheduled for the Olympics, but instead I chose to go to the military. Right. So it was like a whirlwind of things. And then in the military, I switched over because I literally took a chance and wanted to be what was a cook. And I didn't know what it consisted of, but I knew it was my mother.
I know it is. You saw the movie Under Siege and you were like, I'm going to be a cook.
Actually, Under Siege saw me.
Oh, okay. All right.
I came before, so.
That's so funny. That's hysterical. And speaking about the military, you are a Bronze Star recipient, and I saw in your credentials the Legion of Merit. What's that? Tell the people what that is about.
So Legion of Merit, this is merit. It's one of the highest non-combatives award. Well, you get it over in combat also, but one of the highest awards you can get. Usually, officer gets it, like generals and so forth. So enlisted don't receive that award a lot. You have to be above and beyond to receive them. I should receive 2. So it's actually even more important to me than my Bronze Star, just because if you know the history that goes behind it.
That's amazing.
I also received the Peace Medal from the King of Belgium, right? And I received the resolution last year from the state of California for my advocacy for suicide. So I was on the grounds at the, right in front of everyone. They did the whole resolution, which was pretty awesome.
Listen, what's awesome is that you have such a tremendous platform and you use it for the greater good. I wish more people, like we have me and you, we're in a whole collection of, different verified artists and verified people. And we see a lot of people post some bullshit, so it's like, I really appreciate when somebody, of your stature, and your level with your following actually takes that to the next level and uses it to enlighten the ill-informed, to kind of brighten up, a darkened day. And when it comes to suicide, that's the ultimate light of it, from a dark tunnel. So, I can appreciate that so much, dealing with a lot of dark times in my life, never on the level of suicidal, but I've had plenty of friends that have dealt with that. I've dealt with my fair share of people who have committed suicide. People in my family have committed suicide. So, so I commend you for, all the work that you've done in bringing to light, a lot of the things of suicide awareness. So tremendous thing. Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I said, I even appreciate you even having me here and even addressing it and talking about it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. They want to, it's a stigma. It's like, no, we don't want to talk about that. Let's keep it light and think, which I do keep it light. But the reality of it is that it happens to a lot of men. People see a big guy like me advocating for it. It opens them up to be like, you know what, Chef? If you did this and you're doing this, I'm going to go here and do this. I get calls, DMs, messages, literally all day and all night. And I actually vet them all. There's somebody serious, from kids to MST, which is military sexual trauma or sexual trauma with females, or homelessness, or people who just need a little pick-me-up or motivation. They'll say, Chef, can you give me something? You know what? I'll take that. I'll take that, 2 minutes or 5 minutes of time of my life, because otherwise, what else we do with 5 minutes? We just sit on our butt for 5 minutes and not care. You know what I'm saying? So if it's going to help someone or save a life per se, I'm in it.
No, that's great, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Hey, listen, that's why I have you here, because, I want my viewers to know that it's not all just, me having fun and bugging out with my guests and, getting high and getting drunk and talking about the good old days. I want to I want to affect change in a way that I have a. You ever get this feeling? I mean, maybe you can understand. This is a cool topic. You ever get the feeling that no matter how many followers you have or how many people you speak to, it's just not enough to really like impact what it is, even though, it's like, reach one, teach a million, but it's still like, so I've had that like helpless feeling of like, oh man, I wish I had a larger following so I could really, affect people, and their thinking modes, not really to, kind of push my ways on them, but to kind of, have them think for themselves and, do your own research and figure out that there is another side of that coin. So you ever feel like, it's not enough?
You killing me, bro. You know what? It's funny because I have that conflict. I've had a conflict now for a couple years. So my whole following was grown organically. Even when I got verified, I actually held out on it for a long time. They were like, Chef, why don't you verify? Why don't you verify? And I'm like, because I was trying to be humble. And here's the thing that I'll tell people and listen to you and what you just said, which I really appreciate. So when I started to get verified, I did it myself on a Wednesday, and by Saturday I was verified. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize the impact of what it was and and how it would do, right? And so it was just recently, people were pushing me out and doing things, and I realized that to be impactful, you got to be more impactful. You have to reach more people, the people to listen to you. Unfortunately, that's the daily society in the world is you have to have this huge following for people to look at you and think that you are somebody. You can have 10 people and say the exact same thing, even more passionate than The Rock says, and you'll get 0 followings, but he'll get 10 million. Not saying anything wrong with that, but you have to be that person, especially if you're going to do something where you want to try to change the world or change the perspective or train somebody. Now, at the same time, I also had to understand that me doing all this for the last number of years, I was spending my own money, doing my own time, and I was just like, you know what? I'm trying to be organic. The thing about it is being organic is that I'll say to you, you have to feed yourself before you can feed others.
Absolutely.
You got to feed yourself before you can feed a massive, before you can feed a kingdom. So you have to learn that. You got to put it in perspective is to take care of yourself, and everything else is going to fall in place. So I agree with you 100%.
I could dig it, man. I could dig it. So, and speaking about, fixing a plate for yourself, before you, fix plate for others. I know that you were in 4 administrations at the White House of being the chef.
Yeah,
that's gotta be some cool stuff. I mean, I know, and I'm not gonna get political or anything like that, with this at all. But who was the coolest president to work for?
You want the truth?
Yeah, give me the truth.
No, I'm just joking. Of course, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I wouldn't lie to you. The coolest one is gonna be the most personal one, the most open one, who is just very transparent, and he talked to everyone, and it wasn't a facade, and that was Obama.
Obama.
Yeah,
Listen,
just
like I said on my last podcast, I had comedian Ari Spears on the podcast, and he's a huge advocate for Obama, and I told him, I was like, until somebody can point out one thing that he's done wrong, he will always be my president. So that's gotta that moment that I forgot what event he was at where he just broke out and started singing Al Green, and and he killed it. Like, he brought me to tears. So so I love that man, and but that's got to be a cool experience though. How'd you actually get the job at the White House? Did you have to I mean, I guess from a security standpoint, military trained. Nobody's going to try to kidnap you and be like, you have to poison the president. Look at these arms. You kidding me? No one's doing that. So how'd you get that job anyway? Or is that classified? If it is,
No, I'll tell you. So a lot of people don't understand, I'm a chef, but the thing about it is that I'm a chef. Don't get me wrong. I'm a badass chef. I mean, I've cooked for.
No, really?
I mean, when I say bad, like Michael Jackson bad, right?
Oh, yeah, shit. I love it. I love it.
But a lot of people don't understand that I'm also a PSD. I'm a security guy. So I teach combatives levels 1, 2, and 3. When you talk about Steven Seagal, I mean, I love, and I use the word in a respective way, I love the fight, right? I love arms. I love all that stuff. So they think I'm just a big guy in a chef jacket. No, I'm not just a big guy in a chef jacket. I'm a big guy in a chef jacket that has been trained in a lot of different things and knows how to cook his ass off. So, but when I got to the White House, it was, of course, you got to have your clearance. You got to have your top clearance, and squeaky clean, because so many different facades that go along with it. And then you can't just go to Craigslist and try to get a job. The person.
So what's it like? So Monster.com didn't send you an email.
No,
Monster. At the White House.
So no, it didn't happen that way. Actually, it was funny because the guy who originally got me to the door was the same guy who didn't want me to come working even around there at all. I saved his ass, and he got me. He felt it.
And we back. So we were talking about how you answered an ad on Monster.com for the White House chef, and you showed up, showed them your clearance, and you said, "Look at these arms. I can protect them also. So let me cook some shit up."
Basically, that's what happened. Just in that order. Actually, I just came and ate some shit up.
There you go. Now, besides all of this, you also are very educated. I know you took you have a lot of different academic credentials as well, and you hold a PhD in business philosophy. So culinary school to a PhD in business philosophy. Those are two. I guess in the grand scheme of things, if you wanted to, own your own restaurant or your own gigantic franchise, it plays a factor. So you have that business savvy sense as well.
Yeah, so I was always, like I tell people, my chef jacket, literally, I'm gonna be honest with you, I rarely cook at all. And that's about being a business person. I look damn good in this chef jacket. I can cook my ass off, but if you're
Yes, you do.
You know what?
I'm mad at you.
You feel me? But I try to understand. I try to tell people and things. They're like, "Hey, chef, why don't you open up a 5-star Michelin star restaurant or whatever?" And I'm like, no. Why would I open up a restaurant and run myself raggedy when I can just put my name on it and have somebody pay me just to come there and then get residuals from it and have a long-term contract? I'm a business person, right? I don't go in and just cook it. Everybody, "Oh, chef, can I cook?" I said, "Yeah, you got 10 grand?" I'm not just coming to cook for you because that's not my scheme of it. Of course, I'm a chef, a great chef or whatever, but anything like life, I tell the guys I go and speak to, no matter if there's kids, the military, civilians, top of the lane, they help me to go and speak, whether it be on suicide, education, entrepreneurship. And then it's about, it's about getting sponsorships and combining yourself with the like-minded and networking with the right people, and they'll see your worth. In the last 2 years, no one has ever asked me to speak. Ever asked me to cook. Only time I'll cook is when I auction myself off at Arnold's place, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or, for a big charity, Fisher House or whatever, and doing stuff like that. But as far as me just going to cook for someone, it has to be a good reason. I want to have fun.
I hear you. How is it hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger? That's gotta, I know he's got to have a little resentment when he looks down at your arms and he's like, they used to be like that.
Kind of, sort of. No. But, he is one of my, or the biggest supporter I've had. When I say that, my life changed with him because he does it so much and so often. And, he's taught me so many different things on levels to understand, especially with his story about being an immigrant. And people see him as the, bodybuilder or the governor or the actor, but the philanthropist that he is, we went out in LA and gave out, 500 turkeys. We gave out, 3,000 kids for toys, all the things. After school all-star kids has been around since the 90s, early 90s, which is all over the country. And I have an opportunity to go and change kids' lives along with it, which helped me start my nonprofit to do the exact same thing. It's priceless. You can't buy that.
It's fantastic. That's what it is.
It's fantastic. I like it.
Yeah, I butcher his impression, but if you ever heard,
that was an impression. Oh yeah, you did butcher that.
The great state of California, everything's fantastic.
I see that one. Yeah.
Get to the chopper. You know who does that? You know, I'm mentioning him because he's my boy now. But if you ever heard Ari Spears do
Yeah,
an impersonation of Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yeah. Okay.
listen. I just think about it. Let me stop doing that because I'm gonna start like crying, laughing
Oh
over
my
there.
God, that's funny.
Do me a favor. Tell all of my viewers where they can find you, how they can support you, if there's any upcoming projects that you're doing that you need help with. I'm sure that the humanitarian side of people will be brought out once they see this, when they see all the stuff that you've done and your accomplishments. So where can they find you? How can they get in contact with you? How can they write that check for $1 million if one of the viewers is out there to do it?
It better be 2 million. That's all I accept. No, I'm joking. Honestly,
But let me get 10% finder's fee. That's all I ask.
I got you.
Cash, no taxes.
You know what? I'm just a pleasure to be here. Honestly, people can find me on Instagram, Real Chef Rush, Twitter, Real Chef Rush, my website.
Yeah, look at the blue check. That's where you can find him right there.
That blue check, yeah, chefrush.com. And I also have a YouTube at Chef Rush, which I just started all, so I'm just trying to be more impactful.
I just subscribed to it. I was watching the push-ups.
Okay, well, I'll make sure to do it in return. Yeah, that was my first one. So I wanted to be impactful, especially that was my why, doing all those push-ups. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm simple, but I try to do as much as possible for the community, for the kids, for the homeless, for the vets. And I just love to be around like-minded people that's actually the same, that does it organically.
That's amazing, man. And that's why I think that me and you have connected on such a good level for so long.
I agree.
And it's things that we literally just missed each other's path. And then all of a sudden, then COVID hit. And I hope that, you and all your family is all safe and healthy. It's a very, very crazy time.
Same, brother.
I'm a huge advocate for wearing a mask and getting this country back to normal. Yes. I really wish that we had the guidance from certain people that would, kind of unite us rather than divide us. And it's great when two like-minded individuals like me and you can come together and, discuss some real stuff, give insight into, kind of what makes us who we are. And I told it on my last podcast that I get to tell kind of my story, through this podcast while learning yours. So I appreciate you taking your time out for me. So before I let you go, why don't you tell my audience one thing about you that is not documented online? So what's one personal thing that you'd like them to know about you that really is or really shaped you to be who you are today?
One thing, I'll tell you something that's not documented. I was read my last rites 3 times in my life, meaning I was getting ready to die when the doctor came to me and told me that you're gonna die. Right?
Wow.
Well, one time, and then I was almost killed twice. And so that's probably and also I was blown up in the Pentagon with 9/11.
Yeah, just that.
So, I mean, you asked. So,
wow.
Things I don't talk about, but yeah, a couple of different things.
How did you, you're going to have to elaborate a tiny bit. How did, because I'm sure that there's a lot of veterans that have dealt with the same exact thing. And all right, let's put it, rather than how did you deal with it, how would you like them to deal with it? So if there's a veteran that's watching this, or somebody has a family member that's a veteran that's been through something traumatic and might be suffering from PTSD or one of the other 3-letter combinations that you mentioned, what can they do to kind of help out that person in need?
So I would say this also that I don't say openly. I have PTSD. I have severe PTSD. I was in 2 inpatients for 6 months. Another one was 6 months. I was an outpatient for a whole year. That was 2 years of my life, right? And it was that intestinal fortitude. It was that way where it was that hopelessness where you seem like you're lost and you don't have anyone, but you have yourself. You're your biggest worth and the biggest advocate. And I don't think about talking about, think about your family, think about, this at this moment, think about the future. You could be denying your future kids from being the president or born that person that could cure cancer. Think out of the box, right? Turn everything that's positive and take it and feel from it. Take everything that's negative, because it's always going to be more negative in the world. Use that negative energy and turn it into a positive, and you have to feed off of it, because if you don't, it will consume you. So everything that I'm saying to you, I did for myself. I had to teach myself. It was either that or it was either die. Some way, some form of infection, from being reckless, from being time bomb or just not caring?
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, even though I know that's probably a sensitive topic. And what I'd like a lot of people to do is what I'm going to offer to you. If you ever feel like you're in a dark place and you just need somebody to talk to or yell at or, vent to, my phone is always open to you. I'm more than happy. I consider you my brother as well as my friend. So if there's anything I could ever do to help your movement or help you grow in any way, please, I'd be more than happy to help. Chef Rush, I really, really appreciate it. This is your boy, JopauL. This has been the Verified Podcast brought to you by Radio Pushers and ResultsOfNoHype.com. And we
Hey, wait, what about the bars?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do the bars.
Come on, you gotta give it.
All right, so here's your bars that you would basically say, okay? Military veteran, Bronze Star recipient. Cooking up a storm and my arms are magnificent. Cause I'm that chef pimp, better hide all your women friends, not just good looks. I'm a hustler with several businesses.
I stolen.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so I'll send that to you. So those are your bars, because I didn't want to start the podcast with, yeah, we get drunk, we get high, because it's just not the right time for that when we're talking about something serious. But
I get it.
Yeah. So those are your bars. So listen, Chef, thank you so much. I love you, brother. I appreciate your time. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm always here if you need me.
Most definitely, bro. Always.
We out.